And here we are recording on Friday, June 19th, 2020. Did I get that right?
Yes, sir, you did, actually, on the dot.
I'm scatterbrained as a motherfucker, man. I gotta stop reading the news. Anyway, long story short, this is Bouncing Brains. I'm Sean Hatfield.
And I'm Freddy G. How y'all doing, sexy motherfuckers?
Start off with a compliment, and then we'll talk some shit.
Before we get started, I'd like to let y'all know this holy shit, let me get my shit together first. That this episode of the Bouncing Brains has been brought to you by Rockstar. If you ever feel like shit and want to feel like a rock star without actually being a fucking rock star, drink a Rockstar. It's stimulating for your brain, for the most part.
See, Freddie, I minded myself, didn't say anything about drug use or bodily abuse or
That is very good. That we might be able to land that sponsorship like that.
caffeine
Keep it positive.
dependency.
Hey man, speaking about drugs and shit.
I mean, I only shake after I've gone about 3 days without one, but that's just me, man.
Speaking about drugs and shit, I was talking to one of my friends. I've known this cat for about maybe 5 to 6 years, maybe, and we're about the same age. And he was telling me. Oh, by the way, let me premise this. This dude, like, he's never, like, for the biggest part of his life, he's always been very clear cut, you know, straight way by the book, and he's never really done anything. I mean, he drinks, but he also, he didn't start drinking till like later in life. He literally started drinking, like, I believe when he was like 19 or 20 years old. He had his first beer, with his dad, actually.
You know we're in Texas when that's an old age.
Yeah, exactly. So, anyway, but he's never done illicit drugs like cocaine or heroin, or he's never even like, tried weed or anything. And, he was telling me a story. We were on the phone and he was like, "Oh man, I gotta tell you some shit." And I was like, "Dude, what did you do now? Like, what happened?" He's like, "No, man, it's actually a good thing." I was like, good. And I told him, I was like, "Did you finally graduate college?" He's like, No, I haven't. But he was like, "Hey, man, I just started smoking weed." I was like, "What?" He was like, "Yeah, man, I didn't know how much good shit I'd been missing out." And I was like, "Really?" And then he was like, "Yeah." I was like, "I told you, man. I told you." And he says, "Man, like every time that I'm high, I can think better. My mind is clear. I remember everything. At work I'm more productive. Like it's amazing." That's literally what he said. He said,
Amazing.
"It's
Yeah.
amazing." He said, he's like, "I think quicker. Like I'm quicker on my toes. The only thing is," he's like, "there's an upside and a downside to what I'm about to say. You get hungry as shit, but because I do get hungry as shit, I've lost weight." And I was like, what do you mean?" He's like, "Well, what happens is when you smoke a lot of weed, it stimulates your metabolism and like it makes you hungry and whatnot. But what I do is I just ignore it. So because I ignore it and I don't eat when I get really hungry, I only eat at the hours that I'm supposed to eat. I've lost like 15 pounds." And I was like, "Well, shit, man, like, never thought I'd say this, but congratulations, you know." But he was the reason I bring that up, or part of the reason why I bring that up, is because just the ecstatic voice that he had when he was telling me this. Now, another thing that I want to premise about this story is this is the same cat that, I didn't do it, but I was there when it happened. Cause I would never do this. And I'm being honest, people. I would never do this to anybody. But I was there with his brother and some other friends when they actually tried to peer pressure him to smoke weed. So he didn't want to, and they actually they actually literally tried to force it. They tried to force the blunt down his throat, right?
What are you gonna do? Treat him like a cat? Put him in a cardboard box? Blow blunt hits in? What's?
And
I don't see how you force a blunt upon someone.
no,
That
well,
just
I mean
seems-
they were trying to hold him down and literally like put it to his mouth, and you know what I'm saying. So, but he I remember that, like I said, I was there and I was the only sober one there, so I remember he still that time he didn't smoke. He was able to like get away or whatever, and I remember he left to his car like really pissed off. Like he grabbed like 4 beers and he went to his car and he locked himself in his car, and he was like real pissed off that they had done that to him or whatever. And now we fast forward to this, and I told him, I was like, see man, I told you, y'all done been missing out. But you know, like I told you before as well, I would never force you to do anything, you know, that you don't want to do. But I can only suggest and recommend certain things, you know what I'm saying? And then this motherfucker just turns around and he's like, yeah, man, we should hang out and we should smoke a blunt together. And I was like, hold up, wait a minute. See, had this been 4 years ago, maybe, I might have said yes. But see, now I have a job that frowns upon that. So I cannot pick up that offer. But thanks for the offer though, buddy. And he's like, oh man, that sucks. He's like, I would love to smoke with you. I was like, I'm pretty sure.
Man, look, at the very least, you can make movie suggestions, maybe candy combos. You know what I'm saying? Like, dude, you ever tried Twizzlers and Sour Patch Kids? Man?
Yeah, pretty much, man, pretty much. I used to eat, you're familiar with the Dorito different flavors, right?
For the most part, yeah.
Okay, well, I haven't seen them anymore. And if anybody see them, please give me a bag, because those are my favorite. The Buffalo Blazing Doritos.
I'm pretty sure I had those at one point.
Yeah, hell yeah. Those are the shit. So, I used to get really high, right? But I mean like high, like high as shit. Like I would shake hands with Jesus and stuff. So, I used to get really high, and I used to eat the Buffalo Blazing burritos, and then I would eat a whole roll of the Oreo cookies, and then I would have a big ass glass of milk. I'm not gonna tell you what that does to your stomach, but when I was eating it, it was the shit for real.
I was never much of an Oreo. I will say I like those Oreo candy bars, the cookies and cream.
Nah, fuck that. I tried them. Nah.
But if I'm gonna go over a cookie, man, Chips Ahoy weren't bad. They had their phases, you know what I mean? They changed up the size, and like you could get the old school crunchy one, or like the crumbly ones and the chewy ones.
They fucked me up when they made cereal. I was like, nah.
I had some of the Oreo cereal. What it was?
No. I'm talking about the Chips Ahoy. Yeah.
I never tried the Chips Ahoy, man.
Yeah,
I was already away out of that whole mindset.
I passed on that shit.
Yeah, cookie cereal. But then again, man, Cookie Crunch was it Cookie Crunch? Cookie Crisp. That's what it was.
Cookie Crisp.
Yeah.
I remember those.
Wasn't bad. Oh man, Cinnamon Toast Crunch was the shit. I have not had that in decade, man.
Like I was thinking when I was having this conversation with my friend, I was thinking like, because then I started like thinking back and reflecting on my life, and again, like a bunch of different shit that I've done, and like, do you think or do you feel that? How can I say this? That growing up, think about back when you were a kid. Let's say that you were 7 years old. Because at 7 years old, you're still a virgin, for the most part, unless you were molested, like in my case. But for regular people, when you're 7 years old, you know, you're still a virgin and shit.
For those of y'all at home without long-term scars on the soul, yeah. Normal. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
And at 7 or 8 years old, I'm guessing, you haven't had drugs or anything like that either, right?
Hmm?
So think about like the way you grew up and then, going through your drugs phase and whatever it is that you did do and didn't do, and to a grown adult now, and then think back to the same thing, but take drugs out of the equation. Do you think that you would have been a completely different person? Not check out what I'm asking. I'm asking, do you think you would be a completely different person? Not partially different, not
Okay, now you're talking the exact same scenario without any.
yeah, without drugs.
Okay, so there's nothing else different besides the drugs.
Yeah, that's exactly. Exactly.
Oh, I'd be in prison.
Well, fuck.
I'd have
Okay.
killed somebody out of anger, dude. I was
So
an
is
angry
it
young
so,
man.
so is it safe? Because I mean, we all went through that.
Weed saved my life. I ain't gonna lie about that.
Okay, I'm interested. Elaborate.
There are a bunch of people who are not violently maimed or
No,
deceased.
I'm talking about you though.
I'm not in prison.
No. I know, but you said weed saved my life. So
Yeah.
what do you-
I would be a completely. I mean, not to say like the kind and gentle soul that I am would not have been in there, but yeah, man, there was a lot of shit on top of that not having marijuana and then mushrooms at some point, man, and. Hey man, look, there's a lot of things that can.
So we gonna put those in parentheses because we gonna come back to those. But had not had marijuana, and go ahead and continue.
But I'm saying, like getting in, starting to use marijuana on a regular basis from like the age of 14, completely
And you're
35.
now. Okay.
My weed habit can legally drink.
So okay, so because I'm getting somewhere with this, like
Well, all right, let me throw it back at you, man. Like, you're asking this question for a reason? You think that without drugs, the whole experience would have been markedly different for you, or? I mean, I know we were talking last episode how a lot of the major problems have been around drugs.
But that's different though. When I said that, I really meant like drugs. I meant like real drugs, like you know what I'm saying, like
right, man.
Cocaine and pills and
look, man. Outside of a few specific, like let's say unique circumstances, everybody that I know that ever got into the business end of it got into the recreational use first.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You don't just wake up one day and go, I know how I'm going to invest my lunch money. Well, okay, I take that. Well, like I said, in unique circumstances, I know at least a couple motherfuckers that were straight edge the whole damn time and very competent. I'll say that.
It would have been different. The biggest difference would have been that if I wouldn't have if I wouldn't have done drugs, by the way, let me qualify this statement. I don't condone drug usage. If you're drug free and you're happy, stay that way. And I will also honestly say, if you've never ever tried drugs, I recommend that you don't. Honestly, because it's not, it's fun, but if you're above 30, if you're 25 and you've never done drugs, I don't recommend that you like do them later, because I'll be honest with you, it's fun, but you're not going to miss out on much, and it may lead you to places that you don't want to be in. Anyway, I just wanted to make that disclaimer. So back to my thing was that with me, I'm the biggest difference is that I feel that if I wouldn't have done them at such an early age, because I started smoking weed when I was 15, 14. At 14, I smoked my first blunt, and it was like a half a piece of blunt, and I was high as shit.
Somebody give you a secondhand roach?
No. It was a full blunt that was going around.
Oh, okay. You just got in on the circle.
Yeah, there was 6 of us, 5 of us.
That's the way it happens.
And it was a girl, right? And I'll never forget this, bro. I had never smoked weed in my life before, ever. So there was a guy before her. It was her, and then it was me. The guy hit it, and these motherfuckers were like professionals and shit. You know what I mean? So they hit it, whatever. Then they passed the blunt. She grabbed the blunt. She hit it 3 times, and then she gave that like strong cough and shit. So then she gave it to me, and I grabbed it and I puffed it because I had already smoked cigarettes. So I puffed it like a cigarette, right? So I puffed it, but I didn't inhale. But I didn't not inhale on purpose. I just didn't inhale. And this bitch got mad. She turned around and she whacked me behind the head and she was like, "Smoke it right. Stop wasting my weed." And I was like, and then he's like, "Hit it again, but you gonna suck that shit in." That's exactly how she told me, man. Now, keep in mind, this chick was only like a year older than me. She was like, "You gonna hit it and you gonna suck that shit in, okay?" So I was like, "All right, I'm sorry." So she was looking at me the whole time, like I hit it. And as soon as I took the first bluff in, I immediately started to choke to the point that I got red. And I got scared because I thought that I was never going to stop coughing.
Were your lungs doing like that little accordion motion?
Yeah,
like,
yeah, exactly. It felt like my heart dropped to my lungs. And they were like beating and shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So then they passed the blunt like 3 times over me because I still hadn't recovered from the first motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? So, anyway, so that was the first time that I had smoked or whatever. And then, so had I not smoked early or had I not done drugs, period, early, cause everything for me, as far as like drugs, happened at 15. At 15, I smoked weed. At 15, I did cocaine. At 15, I popped pills. At 16, I drank lean, which for white folks or anybody that don't know what that is promethazine with codeine, cough syrup, and Sprite, and your favorite flavor of Jolly Ranchers. You put it in a cup, and I'm not gonna give you the whole recipe, but that's kind of what it is. So.
I know you were into it seriously when you mentioned the Jolly Ranchers.
Damn sure. You gotta have the Jolly Ranchers, bro. Yeah, you get your favorite flavor of Jolly Ranchers, you put it in. What you do though, so you can get the real flavor, you put the Jolly Ranchers in first. YouTube won't pull us off for this one.
We do not advise any of this.
Yeah, it's just an example. Anyway, so yeah, Jolly Ranchers and yeah, and ice, and then you ice, and then Sprite. A lot of people did it with Big Red and shit like that. I didn't like Big Red, so just with Sprite, and you stir it, and you have one hell of a drink. I will make this disclaimer though, so because I know some dumbass that listens to this is gonna try it, so you don't overdose. It's 4 ounces of lean for every 20-ounce bottle of Sprite. 4 ounces of lean for 20-ounce bottle of Sprite. And let me go further and explain this. This is a type of drug that more is not better. Again, 4 ounces of lean for every 20-ounce bottle of Sprite. so that you don't fucking overdose.
And look, just throw this out here. This is pretty good advice for a lot of drugs. Matter of fact, for most drugs, if you take the dose and it doesn't hit you, call it a night. Just wait for another day. Don't try to double up on that shit.
That's what I was about to say. So the other thing is that with lean, you're not supposed to drink it like if you were drinking a beer, like if you were drinking a Coke. You're not supposed to drink it like that. Everybody and their mom and every dumbass rapper that has done this has used this term, but I'm telling you, take this term literally. Every dumbass rapper says that they sip lean. Okay, that's exactly what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to sip it. You just, and you leave it alone for about 5, 10, 15 minutes. You don't drink and you don't chug that shit, because then you're going to get the shakes, you're going to get the sweats, probably going to pass out. And if you do pass out, the chances of you waking up are very slim. So, believe me, I'm just saying. I'm not condoning that you do it. I'm just sharing my experience with you. Don't do the stupid shit that I did. I'm here by the grace of God. Anyway, so...
A little known fact that may or may not be true. I'm pretty sure lean's killed more Houston rappers than gang violence.
That's for damn sure. So yeah, like at 16, I tried lean, and then for a while I started doing the pills and everything. I used to pop like Valium and shit like that. Never got into the Xanax because the Xanax put me to sleep. I wasn't. What is fun about nodding your fucking head like?
I know people that enjoy barbiturates, or at least have a habit of barbiturates. I don't understand it. Like I've never done them. But
you never tried bars?
Don't do pills, man.
Okay, good. That's another one of those things you're not missing anything.
And to be honest, man, I don't even. I used to qualify that and say like the only thing I ever did was MDMA, and
that's different.
That was probably the biggest risk in my wilder days, was taking some very questionable fucking tabs. And dude, I really wish I had been around for the whole like the Molly thing, where it was like people started getting like the pure stuff. I never
did. Yeah, I never did.
Because I really, when
I found out that it had the one that they were making, and I'm not just saying like my friends or whatever, I'm saying when it came out in the news reports, when the mass production of that shit, that it had mixtures of actual rat poison. Yeah. I was like, I ain't fucking with that. We good.
Yeah, it's...
And I because my cousins tried it, and I was like, dude, why y'all doing this shit, man?
Well, look, you ever done ecstasy at all?
Yeah, I've done ecstasy.
Okay, look, some of the worst, let's say, drug experiences I've ever had have been on ecstasy, just fucking sitting in a corner, sweating my ass off, just, like, oh God, when's it gonna fucking stop? And also some of the, like, literally, I had a little therapy session one day, just sat down, I had a tab that I'd been holding on to for a couple months, popped it, it was in middle of the day, had a nice little afternoon, fucking just chilling on a soft chair, listening to some music, getting a little stoned, cleaned my room, went for a walk. Like
it depends what you take though. Like as far as like the ecstasy.
Yeah.
Because if you take, for example, one strain, because they're pills, but they're like strains too. Because if you take one that I remember that I used to take, it was called the Maserati. Mm-hmm. Those bitches, if you take one, it'll do that. Like you'll start cleaning your room, you'll start organizing. It makes you like really focused. The thing that sucks about that shit is that it makes you too focused. So let me explain. So like, let's say that you pop that shit and you start looking at this can, right? You start looking at the can and you start reading it. and you're like, it's a Rockstar, and this is all this is in your head. Rockstar, sugar-free, vitamin B vitamins, guarana, and then you look at the star, and then from here you're gonna pull out your phone and you're gonna start googling vitamin V's and taurine and caffeine and what does it do? Yeah, you'll go down a fucking rabbit hole.
Well, all right,
like,
look, here's the thing. First of all, MDMA is it's an amphetamine. What it's
an amphetamine.
Yeah, but here was the other thing: is I remember for a long time they were the claim was, even from motherfuckers that were selling it to you, was that they were cutting it with methamphetamine. Yeah. So you were getting two like different amphetamines at the same time. Because all right, look, just MDMA by itself will keep you awake. You're going to be very like. But I never got the like that amphetamine like hyper focus bullshit. Like when I say I like clean my room, like I mean I was sitting around like having an ecstasy, like
well, that goes back to what
I feel like I should clean. Like it wasn't like, oh shit, I got to do something.
No. But that goes back to what I was saying earlier. It depends on the strain,
dosage.
on the dosage and the strain. Because
well, the other thing was I remember along with the methamphetamine, there was the claims that they were cutting it with opium, which was it's like, hey man, if you're gonna be doing some shit, you take take the meth ecstasy. If you're gonna be like going out and partying, take the opium X.
Like for example, I
by the way, I don't know if any of that's fucking true. We never tested the goddamn pills. And when they start melting in your pocket, and you're going, "What the fuck are these M&Ms? What the hell?"
I smoked Hindu Kush once, and that happened to me. So I smoked about a half a blunt, and then like in my once it hit me, because that shit was fucking strong. Like it hit me and I felt it, and I was like, "Oh, okay, I'm high." So I was sitting down right on the couch. I was sitting down like this. And in my head, I was productive. Like, okay, I was like, all right, so I got to clean my room. I'm going to go clean my room. And I started fucking making a list. You know what I mean? Like, I was like, I'm going to clean my room. I'm going to pick that shit up over there. Then after I do that shit, I'm going to go take out the trash. And then I literally made a list of like 13 things that I had to do, organized it. I put that shit in alphabetical order. I'm dyslexic. Man, and I put it in alphabetical order. You know what I'm saying? So I did that. And then, but once I did it, and then I tried to get up. I was like, but I really do need to do it. But I never got up off the phone because my body was like, nah, bro, we chilling.
I'm just picturing like Stephen Hawking smoking some weed, just like, man, I should clean out the attic. Oh yeah, my legs don't work.
No, it's like my mind wanted to do that. And it was like on the go, like my mind was going 100 miles an hour.
The spirit was willing, but the flesh was unable.
And my body was telling my mind, bro, we chilling. We not moving. So I was like, so I actually spent about maybe 4 hours, staring at the list. And just to let y'all know, none of them 13 fucking things on that list I did. I didn't do it. I left there and I was looking at it. I think I even fucking memorized the list at that point. I mean, this was a long time ago. But anyway,
start recopying the list because you didn't like the penmanship from the first one.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I put the list on next to it. I wrote the same shit, but in alphabetical order. I really did do that. I was like, oh shit, because I looked at it and I was like, oh man, it's out of order, man. Let me just. So I started writing it in alphabetical order and shit. And I was like, okay. And then I looked at it and I was like, yeah, that looks better. It's like, motherfucker, just hits the same. So anyway, but I went off on a tangent there. But going back to what I was saying, like I did all of this early and shit, and I'm glad for me. I'm glad that I was able to do it early because. And again, I'm not shitting on people that are 30 and 40 years old and do drugs and drink and whatever. If that's what you do, that's you, enjoy yourself, whatever. But for me, I always had the mentality of like, I don't want to be doing this shit when I'm 30. And I literally meant that. Like 30 for whatever reason in my mind was like the cutoff for like everything. I was like, I don't want to drink when I'm 30. I don't want to do drugs when I'm 30. I just want to, I guess in my head, I wanted to step into the next phase of my life or whatever and focus on whatever the fuck. I didn't even know what that was, but whatever the fuck that was going to be, that's what I wanted to focus on and like leave drugs and leave that shit, behind me.
Right.
Which I think about it now, and had I not done drugs and enjoyed myself at an early age, I'm pretty sure because of who I am, how I am, and my personality, I would have done drugs like later in life, meaning like in my 30s, And to be honest with you, I probably would have continued doing drugs until you know how they say, until you get it out of your system. Figuratively speaking and literally. So.
Okay, but so you're saying if you could rewind the clock and you hadn't been exposed to drugs at an earlier age, you figure you probably would have just wound up.
Yeah, I'll be smoking weed right now. I'll be smoking weed and probably popping pills and probably having a beer and probably having the rocks all together. I'll be geeked out of my brain like right now. Because
just twitching and shit, trying to tell me about the Illuminati.
Exactly, you know what I'm saying? Because I've again, and a lot of that, for the people that don't know, and I've said it very openly before, I unfortunately have a very addictive personality. So anything that I try, and that I like, it's very difficult for me to put down. That's why I am so grateful to God that I never tried crack and I never tried heroin. Cause I think that if at any point, and even now, like, cause I'm still young, like, I think that if at any point in my life I would have tried crack, for example, I honestly think I wouldn't be able to kick the habit. Cause I've read so much on it, and yeah, like, of course, I've read all the bad shit, but I've also read all the good shit, like what you get from it in the high,
right. And
it sounds amazing, bro. Like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, it sounds like a superhero drug. And it sounds, I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I'm not gonna fucking lie. It sounds like something that Superman takes. You know what I'm saying? So, the enormous, this is what gets me. Every article that I read says something like this or very similar to it. The enormous amount of euphoria that you get from it. That's what I'm afraid of. Because I know that if I taste that euphoria even a little bit, it's a done deal.
Okay, have you never had that moment? Like when people talk about like chasing the dragon with anything, have you never had like that initial just fucking like, oh, holy shit moment with anything?
Yeah. Runner's high. You ever had runner's high?
Okay, fair enough, man. But that's pretty like you can replicate that fairly easily.
Not really. Like you can replicate it, but real.
But you mean like the first time?
No.
Like, oh, shit.
I'm saying real, legitimate runner's high is kind of hard to obtain. You really gotta like your conditioning has to be at a certain place. And I'm not gonna lie to you, I've reached that conditioning before, so I know that's how I've been able to like get there. But when you get that euphoria from runner's high, it feels amazing, bro. Like it feels like I literally, like, the best way I can describe it is while I'm on that shit, like when I get that runner's high, you could literally come like at the peak of it. And I've thought of it. You could literally come and tell me, hey bro, your house is on fire. And I wouldn't give a shit. Be like, alright, whatever. I'll deal with it later. So going back to your question, I have. I've oh, so wait, let me back up. So I think I've told you before, and I know that I've said it to other people as well. If I could get in a pill runner's high,
Mhm.
like what I feel when I get runner's high,
Right.
I would take that shit every day. But it's not really realistically possible.
Well, there's a positive note, but to let me drag it back right back down into the gutter, what I really meant was is there when you were playing around with the various substances, you never came across something that kind of gave you that pure bliss, euphoria. Oh shit, I could get used to this type of feeling.
Yeah, that's why I smoked weed for a long time.
Okay,
That's why when I used to smoke weed, that's why I used to smoke weed like every day, because I got to a point where fucking, I don't want somebody depressed to fucking hear me say this, but like like I struggle with like depression and anxiety and shit.
Mm-hmm.
And to be honest with you, I don't smoke now, and I've been sober for a really long time. And I've tried a lot of legal like drugs and shit, like legal ones that supposedly help you with your anxiety and depression. But nothing that I've had has given me the relaxation and the chillness and the mellowness of of marijuana. You know what I'm saying? When I smoke when I smoke weed really balances me the fuck out. You know what I'm saying? Like, because all of my anxiety, all of my anger, all of my like negative feelings.
Well, the way you were talking
You know what I'm
about
saying?
runner's high, and especially considering the runner's high is very similar to, like just chemically, my understanding at least, it's very similar to a marijuana high.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when you got the elevated
But-
heart rate and the
But marijuana's better. Still, in my opinion.
right. But what I'm saying when the way you were talking about, oh, your house is on fire, and it's like, oh, all right, I understand.
Yeah, whatever.
That
No,
That
I
was,
would literally tell you, yeah, whatever. That's literally what I would say. But as soon as I come down, I'll be like, oh, fuck. You understand what I'm saying?
yeah. I don't know if that was necessarily where I would get to, but it was definitely the place of like the initial spike reaction of either panic or like anger or fear or whatever it was. Like that's what weed really helped me to deal with, was like if somebody came to me with some shit and there was like, hey, here's a problem, I'd be like, okay, let's deal with the problem.
So just to cap off like my end of it, and this is the best way I can describe it. So I struggle with anxiety and depression like every day, and this is the best way that I can describe it to anybody. Outside of this, I don't know how much more literal I can make it. When I would smoke weed, for the time that I was high, and I didn't even have to be really high, just as long as I got moderately high, I could look you in the face, and I can look at you in the face, and I can tell you now that I was genuinely happy. I was happy. Like, I was fucking happy. Like, there was nothing in the world that I was happy. Just everything. And I'm not talking about like, cause you know how like some like rookie people that are not used to smoking every day, you smoke and you get the giggles and shit.
Right.
No. I didn't get the giggles. I was just happy. Everything made me happy. You told me some shit. I was still happy, and I was high and I was happy. But I would come down, and the marijuana would start leaving my body, and then I would come back to what I would call normal, which my normality to me, my normality was that state of depression. So I was like, oh shit, like this is what reality like feels like. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, so that's the best way I could describe it. Like when I used to like smoke weed or whatever, like it would make me feel happy. Now let me premise this part as well. Specifically, when I would smoke sativa, it would make me happy. When I would smoke indica, it wouldn't make me happy. When I would smoke indica, it would make me feel just heavy. I didn't feel bad, but I didn't like it because I was just like I was here, but I wasn't here. And I didn't like the feeling. I mean, it was fine because I was still high, but it's a body high. Like,
To be honest, with the heavy indicas, I always got a bit of a numbness, like almost emotionally as well.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah, exactly. Yes. So my body, my body was high. So what that means is, so my body was high, but my head wasn't. That's how I could describe my indica use. And I've only smoked a few, like God's Gift was one. And the other one was OG Kush. Yeah, OG Kush is fucking heavy. OG Kush will help you sleep like a baby, I can tell you that much.
Well, to be honest, if you've ever smoked, like, the Reggie, Mexican brickweed type of shit, that's typically an indica. It's not very strong, granted, but that is.
Yeah, but see, like that. That's the
best you can do. Maybe a hybrid.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. See, and I ain't shitting on Texas, or the Valley, but the weed down here is not really. Well, I mean, I'm sorry, I'll take it back. Like the shit that they got now, from what I've heard, is very it's an upgrade from what I used to get. But even the stuff that I used to get back then, my shit was high grade because I got it from somebody that used to grow it.
Right.
And they used to grow hydro.
In defense of Mexican brickweed, I have definitely every once in a while, man, especially back when I was in high school, man, we'd run across like just some bright green Sensimilla, fucking smelled like Fruity Pebbles at, fucking Reggie. You know what I mean? They weren't, maybe they'd charge like a couple, $20 more for this or that. But like for the most part, it was like great prices, great weed. And then every once in a while you'd get some brown shit that looked like it had mold and a worm in it.
And the other shit that I remember I smoked twice, and I don't even know why I did it the second time. Oh, I do know, because that's the only thing that was available. But I would never smoke again, not even for fun. And people like it. I mean, if that's your thing, that's your thing. But have you ever smoked hash?
Yeah.
You can fuck that. I when I smoked hash, I got so high that after a while, I mean this literally, I'm not even trying to be funny. I remember I got so high that after a while I got scared because I started to feel that I was never going to come down. So I was like, cause I was high for like fucking 5 hours, and I was like, bro, this is a part-time job. I mean,
dude, there is a mutual comedy friend of ours that I won't refuse to smoke dabs with him, but I do it very reluctantly, and I take small hits, man, because at least twice I have wound up having to stay somewhere for like an hour longer than I wanted to because I was just stuck somewhere in a chair, unable to get up. Like I'd stand up and everything would start swimming and fucking getting fuzzy, and I was like,
no,
fuck.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, but my thing is that like I was high for too long, and it wasn't even fun anymore. And then I literally got scared because my mind started telling me, literally, like I remember my mind was telling me, you're never, literally, this is what I remember. My mind was telling me, you're never gonna, you're never gonna stop being this high, and you're gonna be this high for the rest of your life.
How much did you smoke?
It wasn't a lot, bro. That's the scary part. But I will say this. I think that would really fuck me up that I didn't smoke it like regular, like out of, you know how you smoke it out of a pipe? Mm-hmm. I didn't do that. I smoked it out of a fucking oven. There's a word for it.
Oven?
Yeah, it's not an oven. I'm being sarcastic. There's a word for it, damn it. A vaporizer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that later I found out that makes it more, it makes the high more potent.
It would, yeah, you can, yeah.
And then your fucking breath stinks like shit, bro. Like it's like when you, I mean, not wild because it's vapor, but when, like after a while, like the aftertaste, like it can, it fucking tastes. I do remember that. It tastes horrible.
You know what probably happened, man, was you had it cranked up all the way. Here's
I wasn't working it, but so I don't know.
Yeah, there's actually a guy. Shit, I kept meaning to look that company up. There was a guy that worked for NASA for a while. He was an engineer, and when he retired from NASA, he moved back to California and started a vaporizer company. And basically, they figured out that pretty much with any weed, right? Like regardless of whether you're getting indica, sativa, or whatever, the various cannabinoids, whether it be CBD, THC, or any of the other, couple dozen cannabinoids that are in there, they all vaporize at different temperatures.
Yeah.
So
now I know that. I didn't know that back then.
Right. But if you're cooking it at a high temperature, you're getting every single one of those. So like what they figured out was if you want like the early morning wake and bake, just, a little, pep in your step high, it's I want to say it's two or 300. That might be wrong. It's been a long time since I've done it. It might be like 260 or something like that, but maybe 285. Anyway, point being is you do it at a lower temperature and you're just burning like the THC and some of those, you get the nice little pep in your step. Same weed, and then like in the afternoon, you can burn that same weed with, not the exact same dose of weed. Yeah. I'm just saying, same type of weed.
Yeah.
You do that in the afternoon at a higher temperature, you get the heavier high, a little more relaxed, whatever, get you ready for bed type of shit. And to be honest, I remember I had one of the BC vaporizers back in, 2002, 2003, where it was, these looked like they were made in somebody's garage, man. This was, early vaporizer, market vaporizer. Anyway, point being, man, it's, this was even before like the volcano and all that shit came out, but it had no thermometer on it. It was literally just like a soldering iron hooked to a hot plate that like,
oh shit,
you plugged it in.
No, I remember the one we used. It was like, it was a black box, but it had knobs. Like it had like 3 knobs.
Okay, little hose you plug into it.
And then it had like 8 hoses. Like it had one main hose, and then like 8 different hoses that like 8 different people could like hit it or whatever. And then you on the backside you could fit up to an ounce of weed in there. So exactly. So you put an ounce of weed, you would close it up, and you would turn it on, and you literally like it was like you baking a cake and shit.
This is like some old school Frankenstein technology.
like my I remember my homie telling me, he's like, "Hey man, hold up, it's got to warm up first." And I was like, "Motherfucker, you making a cake or something?" He's like, "Man, just hold on." And then once it got to a certain temperature, he's like, "All right, grab the hose." So and then that's the last thing I remember. I just remember.
I remember using one of those that had like a little red light that would come on. Yeah, I swear in my memory it would go like a little easy bake oven, just ping.
Yeah, exactly, man. So
that was probably not the best introduction to hash.
I wouldn't do it again though, because I smoked it a second time because that's the only thing that was available, and I really did want to get high because I ran out of my shit.
Right.
And they gave it to me, or they didn't give it to me, but they were smoking it, and they're putting it in the pipe. It was in a pipe this time, and they were like, "Here, man," and I was like, "Oh," because they look like a crack pipe.
Right.
Like I said, I ain't never smoked crack, but I know what the pipes look like. You know how the crack pipe has it's thin, but it's got the ball at the end. Okay, well that's
Right.
what it was. So I was like, man, like what is that? Because I told him I was like, I'm not about to smoke crack. He's like, nah, man, it's hash.
Yeah, if you've ever wondered why you walked into a head shop and saw a crack pipe, a lot of that was for crack users, but some of it was for hash users.
Yeah, exactly. So he was like, no, man, it's not crack. And I told him, I was like, let me see it. He's like, well, it's because I already put it. I was like, well, you smoke that and then, like, I'll wait to the next one. So I actually waited. And then I saw him, like, load the shit in there. And I was like, and then I still told him, I was like, what is it? And he was like, it's hash. It's like, fuck.
Here we go again.
Yeah, I was like, and I was like, nah. And I told him, I was like, nah, man, I'm good. But then they started passing it around and shit. And it looked like they were having such a good time. So, and in my head, I was like, you know what, man? Maybe that one time I just had a bad trip. So I was like, you know what? Let me give this another shot. So I tried it again. I was high for like fucking 6 hours again, and I was like, no, this shit is not. And then I had to go to work the next morning. So I woke up.
High.
I woke up and I was still high. I was like, what the fuck? But I will say this. Shouts out to Ticketmaster. I used to work at Ticketmaster. It made my 6-hour shift seem like it was 2 hours. By the time I looked at the clock, I was like, I gotta go. I was like, I could do 3 more hours of this shit. And it was, but because I kind of figured out, I guess like the first time, I didn't really have my mind occupied. So I think that had a lot to do with it too. Like the first time I had smoked hash. The second time, I had to go to work, so I had to be productive. So I think because my mind was busy, like,
Right.
the high was actually decent. But I still didn't like it. And I really, I just didn't like the longevity of it. It was like, this is just too long to be high. Like, and I didn't. But it's funny how when I was high, like on like regular weed, I wanted to be high all the time. You know what I'm saying?
Look, I actually had a buddy of mine who for a long time swore by like just Reggie up and down, because his whole thing was like, not only did he want to be high, but it was the actual smoking that was like it can't, like, that was his habit.
That was there's a lot of people. There's a lot of people that are avid smokers, that they smoke just because they like doing this. It's a thing for them. That's their high. It's part of their high. Me, I was a real fucking drug addict. Like I like, if like, no bullshit, people. If I could skip the smoking and just be high, I would skip it. Hence, that's how I got into edibles. Because they were like, hey man, well, you don't really have to smoke. You can just swallow this and it works faster. But then again, people, never again will I try edibles either. It just wasn't my fucking thing. And the same fucking thing. I was way too high for way too long.
See, now that's one of the weird things, man. I enjoy, like, if I'm in like a social situation and the blunts passing around, you know, several blunts passing around, like, I do find very often, and for a long while, I'll be the one at the end of the night still smoking the end of the blunt going, is anybody else fucking gonna hit this? You know what I mean? I do enjoy smoking copious amounts of marijuana.
Yeah.
But when it comes to wax or edibles or any,
that.
I enjoy it, but the thing is, I don't do them socially very often unless I have direct control of the dosage.
Yeah.
Like, again, if I'm at somewhere and somebody offers me a hit off like a dab or something like that, I'll take it and just take a very light hit, but sociable thing, like if somebody offers you hey, I brought a bottle, take a shot. All right, cool. You know what I mean? Sip on it, maybe not finish the whole thing, whatever. But like low dose of the high concentrates is, to be honest, especially if like you were talking about, if you where Freddy says he's not giving advice, I will give advice in the idea that if you have not, if you are dealing with anxiety and depression and have not tried cannabis, a low dosage of something might
a very low dosage.
Yeah, look, find you your stoner friend. That smokes the good shit.
Get a joint, and just hit it twice. And I guarantee you, if you've never smoked, you're gonna say, I don't feel anything. Just sit and chill.
Now, see, I was gonna advise one hit, but actually 2 hits would probably be a good idea, especially since that, as Freddy pointed out, that first hit is probably gonna do a little bit of stress on your lungs. There's gonna be some uncomfortableness, or maybe not. Maybe you got some good fucking shit, and I don't know. Just the best advice I ever heard about drugs was you go find your friends that look like they got their shit together, but that that they do some from time to time, and ask. And have some money in your pocket. Don't be a fucking mooch. That's the first.
And make sure that you don't. One last thing, so we can cap this off.
Close this out here.
Make sure that you don't smoke with an asshole friend. And I literally mean an asshole friend. This is what I mean. Don't smoke with somebody, because when you smoke for the first time, you're going to get high as shit, and be sure 100% that you're going to do something stupid. So don't smoke with somebody that's not going to take care of you, and that's going to like make fun of you. Don't do that shit, because that's going to kill your trip. It's going to kill your high. You're probably going to freak out, and then you're never going to want to like smoke again, because you're never going to forget that experience. Smoke with somebody, like what Sean said, smoke with somebody that's responsible and that really has a handle on their shit, and that understands it, and that at least cares about you a little bit, because at least that person is not going to do that shit to you, and they'll kind of like watch. Like, I don't smoke, but if anybody would, like, I was that guy. If you smoke with me, I would make sure that you'd be fine. And the minute I would see you trip like Craig and Friday, I mean, I think I hear my heartbeat. The moment I see you do that shit, I would take the blunt from you, and I would just tell you, chill. I'm not gonna give you any more. You're gonna stay high, but I'm just not gonna give you any more. You got enough. But that's just because I'm watching over you. Because at that point, you don't need any more. If I give you more, you're not going to enjoy it.
See, now that explains why a lot of people stop smoking with me. I just hit them with a rolled up newspaper, tell them to sit their ass down. All right, that's the first hour. We'll be right back in a second, folks.
All right.
And we're back.
We are back, people. So we took a little break, changed our batteries. Hopefully you took a little break, smoked some weed.
Changed out your batteries, ladies.
Pretty much. Yeah, man, but it's a beautiful thing. I stand by what I've been saying for years. I really, and this is not a joke, when I said it, I meant it. I think that if everybody in the world would just smoke a little weed, just a little bit, I think that would cause the change that everybody wants to make in the world. Because I really truthfully do believe that it'll bring out the nice in people and shit. There's something, man. I'm telling you, bro. Like, I know there's a lot of people that disagree with me, but there's something about cannabis that if you smoke a little bit, it it does something positive for you. It really does. I've never in my life heard of a human being that smoked a little bit of cannabis and was a dick. Now let me premise this. I literally said a little bit of weed. Not everybody can smoke a whole joint. Because when you get really high, yes, some other aspects of your personality may come out. That's what I love about me. It doesn't matter how high I get, I'm still real cool and mellow and chill. I don't you know what I'm saying?
I would, let's say, expand upon that just a little bit further by saying there are some people that should get a little high and some people that should probably get really, really fucking high. And you're not going to know until they're high. You know what I'm saying? Because if somebody's an asshole, taking a few puffs off the blunt's not going to change them. You know what I mean?
And see, that's exactly where I disagree, and I'll tell you why. I've seen it. Well, he wasn't a friend. He was an acquaintance. Mm-hmm. This dude was a dick. And long story short, and it wasn't really that he was mean. He was just arrogant. He thought that he was better than everybody else. He thought he was always he was a one-upper. He was always trying to get one over on you. He was that type of person. So he was annoying as fuck. So to be honest with you, like I said, he wasn't my friend. He was just an acquaintance or whatever. So, we got him really high. Well, not really high, but we got him moderately high once.
Yep.
And he turned into like the nicest person we had seen in the room. Now, keep in mind, he turned into the nicest person for that time being. Like when the next day he went back to being his own like arrogant ass or whatever.
Oh, so that's when you started dosing him every time you hung out with him.
Nah, yeah, we should have, but I mean, thank God I didn't see him much after that. But yeah, he was just one of those arrogant, and it's fine. I mean, you're gonna run into those people arrogant and they think they're better than you and shit like that. You know, but I go back to my initial statement when we opened this hour. There's something about weed that mellows you the fuck out. Like it just.
I will say, because I did hang with a couple buddies for a while who were insistent that if you were there for the session, you had to take part in the session.
Oh, I have a friend like that. Shouts out to Ivan out in Minnesota. This dude, but and he actually watches us actually.
Much love, Ivan.
So this dude, he was him. That was him. But he was like that with weed, coke, everything.
All right, that gets annoying.
Like what? No. But this is what I'm saying. So we would all be drinking, we would all be partying, whatever.
Right.
And he was the one. When I stopped doing it, he was the one with the drugs. Like he was the party favors. You know what I'm saying? This dude had everything. You know what I mean?
Bring up the briefcase.
Pretty much. And if he didn't have it, it was a phone call away. He had it like that. I don't think he has it like that no more. But when we were growing up, he had it like that.
Oh, man. It takes so much effort to maintain that list, man.
So
motherfuckers always getting busted, changing their phone numbers.
So whatever. This is why I always remember from him, whatever he was doing.
We were doing?
Yeah, like he wanted everybody to do it. And it didn't matter to him if he paid for it, if you paid for it, if you had money. He just wanted if he was smoking weed, he wanted everybody to smoke. If he was doing coke, he wanted everybody to do coke. If he was drinking, everybody had a beer. So let me tell you a quick story. So, I can't say who, because they watch this too and their wife watches this too. And you might meet them one day.
Incriminating details.
Yeah. I won't say who, but we had this one straight cut out, by the book type of person too with us. And we kind of blemished his reputation by making him drink, and he kept drinking and stuff like that. But he never really did drugs either. So Ivan, kind of literally forced him to do drugs, and I will explain exactly how. So this person, because I know you're probably saying, ain't no way in the world anybody can force you to fucking...
Oh, no, I got a story to share after this.
So that's what I'm saying. So this dude was really drunk, but I mean like trip and fall drunk, you know what I'm saying? So we were taking care of him. But we got tired of like taking care of him. So I was like, dude, we need something to mellow this dude out so we can... And I even kept telling him, he was like, hey, bro, you need to chill out, bro. You're fucking with my buzz. You need to chill out. You know, get up. Can't be on the floor. He's like, stop drinking. And he's like, I got just the thing to level him out. So this dude pulls out a half an ounce of cocaine. Literally. Right?
Yeah.
So
how you do?
So he was... My friend was taking a piss, right? I can't even finish because it's fucking hilarious, bro. He was taking a piss outside, right? So he was taking a piss. So Ivan went to the back. He saw him, and he tells me, he's like, "Homeboy, this is my shot." You know, it's like, what the fuck? So he's like, "I'm gonna go around the back. I need you to stand on the side." And then,
by the way, just a quick interlude right here, Ben. You got to do more. You got to throw like a cocaine act out into your act at some point, man.
I got one.
I got to see that joke, man. But like that little jaw twitch you just did right now, fucking, you just like invoked the spirit of cocaine.
Yeah.
For a second there.
So, and it's coming, people. For the people that haven't seen my act, or the ones that have seen my act, I'm working on some new shit. Y'all gonna hear all about my drug life. And just know that up to right now, 97% of it is completely true. I'm just trying to make it funny for y'all.
You still working on the monkey?
Yeah, I'm still working on the monkey. That's hard, motherfucker. It's hard. But I'm working on the monkey. Y'all eventually will find out what the monkey is. So, alright, so he was like, he goes around the back, right? So he goes around the back and he's like, alright, man, I'm gonna go around the back. He's like, I don't want to drop my cocaine because this is expensive. So I need to make sure that this dude doesn't whack it out of my hand. So I need you to go around the back. And he told his little brother, he's like, you're gonna go around the side. Fred, you stand on the side, you stand behind him. I'm gonna go in front. So I stood on the side. And he grabs him, right? His brother grabs him. And he's like, hey, what the fuck is going on? So he grabs his arm. His brother grabs the other arm. Ivan gets a key. He sticks the key in the bag. He brings out a huge fucking bump. It was a mountain on that bitch. So he put it up to his face. But we had him locked in, so he couldn't move. And this was a small motherfucker, you know what I'm saying? So he didn't have a lot of strength, and he was drunk. So he was like, no, I don't want to do it, no. So Ivan was like, you gonna do it, go do it. And he put the key up to his face, do it. And he was like, no. So he's like, hold his neck. So he's got his brother holding his neck, so he's got him like this. So long story short, man, I shit you not. This is what Ivan did. He sneaked up next to him while his neck was being held. He put the key right up under his nostril. And the last thing the guy said was, I'm not going to do it. And he held his breath. He was like, he was like that, right? And Ivan put the key under his nostril, and this is the most fucking crazy shit. It gave me chills at the time. Ivan puts it up next to his nostril and then goes up next to his ear and he says, "Breathe, motherfucker, breathe." And I was like, God. And then the next thing you hear is just. He's like, all right, just relax. You gonna be fine. But I'll never forget that shit. He stood right next to his ear with the key right up under his nostril. The guy was holding his air, and he right next to his ear, and he's like, "Breathe, motherfucker, breathe." Sorry, Ivan, if your wife listens to this shit and she gets mad, tell her it's all in the past. This happened like more than 10 years ago, so we passed the statute of limitation, I think.
Man, I wasn't gonna say anything, but you threw that name out there, and then just like all the business, all the business.
Yeah, we good, man. We good.
You have not painted Ivan in a good light here, sir.
No, he's good now. He has a job. He takes care of his family. That's the only thing that should matter. Damn it. So yeah, man, that was and people, I need you to understand. If you're laughing your ass off, I appreciate it and I'm grateful for it. But that's not even a joke. That's what really fucking happened. Oh, if y'all ever have seen me perform stand up, y'all know who Ivan is. You remember my joke about being pulled over and him wanting to drive, and that we got pulled over because he turned on a one way. And a cop was going.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I was with fucking Ivan. And Ivan was fucking driving. Same fucking person. So, yeah. I'm telling you, people. Y'all can tell I'm not lying. When you hear my shit on stage, they jokes. But I'm telling you my life on stage. And I'm proud to say that because I'm glad that I've partially been able to turn it into a career. So, yeah, that's just one other story. And that, like I said, that's not even a joke. I can still hear it in the back of my head. Breathe, motherfucker. Breathe.
Jesus,
but, let me hear yours.
Mine is a lot less aggressive. Like, much less of an assault, really more just an involuntary doping. Yeah, no, we were partying out at a group of people whose names I'm not going to drop because they, yeah, I will withhold the names to protect the very guilty. We were doing it was motel fucking all-nighter. You wake up fucking with a beer in your hand, sitting next to the pool going, where the fuck are my shoes? Yeah, man, so it's getting on about noon, you know what I mean? That point where like you're sweating everything out of the system. Yeah. You're down in Gatorade just to fucking feel something. And we're like, fuck, dude, we got to check out. Except only one of us has a car, right? And guy who's got not only rented the room, but has the car, fucking all that shit. He's dead to the world, man. We've gone all fucking night into the dawn, and he is just lights the fuck out. One of my buddies gets the bright idea. Well, we really need to get out of here because we don't have any money left. We can't pay for another room. You know what I mean? So he gets himself a bendy straw, a little fucking scoops up an undetermined amount of cocaine, gets right up on the bed with him. I mean, just fucking like lines it up perfect with the nostril and just like a fucking dart gun. Right up the nose. Dude comes awake like that scene in Pulp Fiction when he hits her with the fucking adrenaline.
Yes.
Just
yeah.
Right awake, screaming, mad as hell. Probably because it was bad coke. Probably burned like a motherfucker going down. Oh, that was the other thing. He waited for the intake. Like he was watching his breath. Just like.
Yeah.
And when he went to go breathe in, just right up the fucking nostril.
Damn.
Dude, so he's running around fucking, rah, 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 this and that. We're already packing stuff. We're like, oh, he's awake. Fuck it. We're getting our shit together. After about 5 minutes of this, he calms down and he goes, I feel pretty good, man. We've got our shit and got the fuck out of there.
Something, since you said that, something that I want to point out, for anybody, including yourself, have you ever seen that movie Flight? with Denzel Washington.
Oh yeah, the hotel scene, man.
Okay,
Dude,
the only thing I wanted to see about that, and we can go into detail about
that's
it.
one
if
of
you want.
John Goodman's greatest fucking
Fuck
characters, man.
yeah, dude. But what I want to tell everybody is that scene in Flight. I just want to let y'all know that everything that they did in that particular scene is absolutely 1000% possible. Because I remember when that movie came out, there was a couple of people that were telling me, man, he was so fucked up, all the shit that he drank. That's how you can tell that it's a movie, because that is not possible for somebody to fucking get up just like that, from 1 minute to the next with all that shit. I was like, bro, if you know exactly what you're doing, that is absolutely possible.
Just like the little director, just like, all right, one line in this nostril, one line in the other.
Yeah.
Wait about 20 minutes, take another dose.
Yeah. And then at the end, when he's like, so which one of you gentlemen is sponsoring this?
Fuck,
shit, man. So, yeah, man, but for sure. Oh, something that I left out, man, when I was talking about weed and weed making me feel happy. Aside from weed, when I used to smoke that it would make me happy, I think I've told you before, and I think I might have shared this on the podcast, but the only other drug that I've ever had, and I will say I had it accidentally, that I've ever had, that to me, it was like, it made me feel instantly happy, but it was like the happiest I'd ever seen. I'd ever been, is when I had a morphine. Yep. They accidentally, I'm not gonna go into details about that, because it's kind of like, whatever. But they
actually,
did.
if you want to hear not only that story, but story from someone else, that whole account Zach gave us about going into the hospital when he got into the.
Oh yeah.
Zachary Blevins, I think that's episode 80, 88, 89. Yeah. You can go back and check that
out. So morphine, bro. When they gave me morphine, I the only thing I want to say about that is, like I said, in my lifetime, I've tried many different drugs. I've yet to try another drug that has given me the high that morphine gave me. As far as the euphoria, and as far as like it's the same thing, the happiness. I was happy, bro. But see, the thing is that I was happy, but I was also giggly happy. I was like laughing and shit for no reason, which it made me feel happy. But after a while, I laughed so much that when I was coming off, my stomach hurt. And I was like, why does my stomach hurt so much? But it was because I was getting like fucking like stomach laughs. And I remember when I was being checked out of the hospital, my mom asking the doctor, like, is he gonna stop doing that because it's fucking annoying? She said, he's like, yeah, when it wears off. And then the doctor came to me. And he was like, Mr. Garcia, you're going to be fine. You're now leaving the hospital. I was the doctor that took care of you. And then he asked me, is there anything else that, that you need from me? And I remember looking at the doctor. I'm lying. I was going to say with a straight face, but I didn't have a straight face. And I told the doctor, can I have some more of this shit? And I literally told him like that. I was like, can I have some more of this shit? And I was laughing. And then he was like, no, sir, you can't. So I left the hospital. I laughed on my way, the whole car ride home. But anyway, point and moral to that story is that morphine, it made me feel really happy. I didn't have a worry in the world. that whole episode happened because I was in a really bad car accident. When I was high, I forgot about my car because my car was totaled. You know what I'm saying? So I forgot about my car issue. I forgot I was good, you know. And yeah, I've never to this day had a better high than that. But just a not so fun fact about morphine. Morphine has been known to be one of the quickest drugs in the world, aside from crocodile, to eat up your liver with a quickness. Meaning that if you do morphine habitually, yeah, you're gonna end up shitting out your liver like rather quickly. And rather quickly depending on how often you do it, this shit could happen like within a year, 2 years, because of how concentrated and potent the morphine is. Keep in mind, people, this drug was made so that you wouldn't feel shit when you're in severe pain. So,
pretty much invented so they could saw your leg off without you screaming.
pretty much. So, by the way, don't go taking morphine either.
The way you were describing like the almost the blankness, like the don't give a fuck, like the you can tell me my house is burning and I'm not even going to respond to it type of, just joyful numbness. I have only had that experience one time, and it's during it I was like, this is the best thing ever.
Yeah.
And then very quickly afterwards and to this day still scares the shit out of me, because whenever somebody talks about the whole chasing the dragon thing, I was like, oh, that's exactly what they mean.
Yeah. See, and that's what they say, man. Like, they say that with crack, the first time you try it, you get such a euphoric high that it makes you feel superhuman. Literally, that's what I've heard. The thing that sucks is that I've also heard, and I'm not gonna lie to you, I've heard from crack users themselves that never again have they ever felt a high like the first one they got. Never. I've never heard a crackhead say, I've reached that high twice. So that's scary. Because if you have an addictive personality like myself or anything, that's exactly what chasing the dragon is. You're gonna spend the rest of your life, or however long you continue doing that drug, chasing that dragon, and you're never gonna catch it, and eventually you will die. And I don't mean to like scare you off like that, but that's one of the drugs that if you do for an extended period of time, very often, you will die. There's no way around that.
By the way, I do believe that responsible cocaine use is possible. I've known people.
I do believe that there's a lot of drugs that you can use responsibly. The difference is that I believe that for 95% of people, when they try those hard drugs, the responsibility line gets blurred very easily. So what I'm saying is, you have to be a very, 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 very strong-minded and strong-willed individual to be able to do that. It's possible, but not very many people can achieve that responsibility.
I think I've said this before. I'm not quite as hard line as you. As like, if you've never done drugs, don't do them. Like, look, there are plenty of. You've never drank alcohol, have a good tequila. Fucking, it's a good whiskey. A fine.
I don't think you should tell somebody that's never drank to start with tequila.
I disagree. Don't start with shitty tequila unless you just want an excuse not to drink. I think tequila is definitely one of those that, like, giving somebody a horrible like a Cuervo Gold or something like that. Just
Hey,
being,
motherfucker, that was my favorite tequila.
I know it. We've had this conversation, Freddy.
I am offended and I don't drink anymore.
You should be, motherfucker. That's a horrible tequila.
Hell no, that shit was awesome.
I'll say
I would choose.
You got shitty taste in tequila.
I would choose that over Patron any day of the week. I put
Patron on.
But I will say this: my favorite, which I put them here and they step on each other every time, is you can never go wrong with 1800 gold. I never did good with any silver tequilas. It's not my taste.
1800. I have had some, but you do have to know what you're. And weirdly enough, not Familia Camarena. If you're familiar with that, wonderful tequila. The silver is good. The
I don't do silvers. I tried plenty of silvers. It just is not like my taste. I could drink it. I'm not saying that I can't, but I don't enjoy it. It'll get me fucked up. You know what I'm saying? But I don't enjoy the being fucked up part of it. Like the getting there. I don't enjoy it.
To be honest, I would recommend if you're gonna try tequila and you haven't tried it before, number one, don't fucking do shots. Anybody offers you a shot, they're a heathen. You tell them to go to hell. And they're probably buying shitty tequila anyway. And number two, I'd say start off, if not with an añejo, at least with a reposado. You know what I mean? At least go for something that's got a little bit of age and flavor to it. It's got a maturity.
My favorite is 1800 reposado.
You can't. 1800 was the one at the bar. If they didn't have what I wanted, I'd always go for that.
And it made my mouth water. It really, like, that was a big mouth.
By the way,
water.
just to finish my point, while I do say that later in life is probably perfectly fine, if you want to, if you don't, again, if you have interest, find somebody that knows what they're talking about, or at least read a goddamn book. There are plenty of them. But cocaine is the one substance, and granted, there are probably more. I'd say meth probably not a good idea.
I never did that shit either.
I've probably
and
done.
And that shit will fuck you up. And I don't mean fuck you up as in like get you high and you'll enjoy it. I'm pretty sure you will. But like health wise, it'll fuck you up like with a quickness. And that meth fucks up everything. Fucks up your heart, your lungs, your bones, your teeth, your eyesight. And it does it like with a quickness. That's another drug that I've never tried, and I am not interested.
I have been informed by people who run in meth circles that there are people, much like with cocaine, who can be responsible with their use, and they're not, doing, garbage homemade shit. They're doing, they're getting quality product and
damn it, Sean, I really hope this episode does not get pulled down.
Well, look, man, I'm about to fucking say the fucking, the more you know, don't do drugs, kids line, which is, if you've never done it, don't fucking do coke. Don't fucking do meth. But if you have already done it, if you are already doing it, know that if you are fighting that, habit, you can manage it. It can be.
Oh, for sure.
Look, if you can't go cold turkey, at least wean yourself down to the point where you're not being a jackass.
But believe it or not, I was a very responsible drunk. And I say that I mean every word in that sentence. I don't say responsible drinker, because I was a responsible drinker too, but I was also a very responsible drunk. Meaning that when I would get really fucked up, and I mean like really fucked up, I was not annoying. And I have friends, really good friends that are witnesses to that. I was not annoying. I didn't drive. I didn't get on people's nerves. I didn't want to fight like a lot of fucking drunks that I've seen at bars and shit. I was just really mellow. And the more drunk I got, the worst thing that could happen, I would just pass out. And I would still give you the courtesy of telling you before I passed out. If I could speak still, I would tell you. Hey man, I'm drunk. If I couldn't speak, because I did get to the point plenty of times, I would, with my hands, and that was it. Same thing when I was high. When I was high, and believe me, I got really high. When I was really high that I had enough, I knew when to, like, not touch the blunt again. Like, I'm good. I wouldn't push my, ooh, can I get higher? Can I go? I just didn't see a point. I would get to a point where I would get, like, to the highness that I wanted to get, and I was fine that way. So I'm grateful that I was, because I also think that it was because of that number one, I'm still alive, and number two, I was still able to make conscious decisions to, like, while I was high, or like while I was drunk. And there's a lot of people that don't have that ability. I see it all the time. Like I've said it many times, I think, on this podcast, man. I used to be able to, in the heyday of my drinking, I used to be able to go through a fifth of Jack straight. No Coke, no nothing, just straight. Sometimes I would throw in a little lime and some ice in there just for flavor. I would go through the whole fifth, and I would be drunk. I'm not going to lie to you, and I'd say I wasn't drunk. But I could go through the whole fifth by myself, and I could still go about my whole day. I would run my errands, pay my bills, because normally when I would go through the fifth is when it was my day off. So, but I would go through the fifth, and I would run my errands, pay my bills, do what I had to do, clean my apartment and shit like that when I had an apartment. So like I was good, but not everybody can do that. People get drunk and then they can't do shit else. They, like, you know what I'm saying? So, and then you got the other drunk motherfuckers that get really fucking drunk, and the sober dude knows that they can't do shit else, but the drunk dude thinks that they can still conquer the world. Oh no, I'm good. I'm gonna get on this 18-wheeler and I'll see y'all later. Yeah, no, yeah, you got those people too. So, just like Sean said earlier, people, whatever it is that you do, just try your best to do it responsibly. And I stick to what I said. If you're on the older side of it, 30, 40 years old, and you've never done drugs, all I'm going to say is, hey man, you've come this long way. Why start now? I'm just being honest with you. But I'm not going to lie to you either, and I'm not going to tell you it's not fun, because I'd be lying to you. But if you don't do it, you'll be fine. I mean, you know what I mean? Especially if you got kids and shit. I've seen people leave their kids alone and unattended just because they want to drink. And it's kind of, your kid shits on themselves and you can't even change them. And I've literally seen this shit personally. And it fucked with my buzz. And I'm not gonna lie to you, man. Like, I was at a party once at a hotel with a bunch of people. There was like 10 of us in one hotel room. Guys, women, guys, women, all mixed and everything.
Right.
And this fucking chick brought her baby to the hotel. And she just put the baby on the bed. And I was like, why the fuck?
And who was she fucking that nobody threw her ass the fuck out?
I'll be honest with you, I don't remember. But I do remember asking myself, why is a beer in my hand, a blunt in my other hand, and a baby next to me?
I'll be honest, I've spent many a night drinking and drugging at family homes where there are, children asleep in the other room and whatnot, but there's always at least one spouse that is sober and is taking care of that shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There have been many a times where I have pretty much just stopped hanging out with some of my friends when it's like, dude, you got kids and shit now. You got responsibilities. Like, look, I know, and then this was years ago, but like, I knew I was going to go out and just drink all the drinks and drug all the drugs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I knew I was not going to be responsible enough to turn to my buddy and go, hey man, you got work in the morning. You should go home. So like, I'm not like, yeah, man, I may have left some friends on the sidelines because like, I didn't want to take on the responsibility of them being irresponsible. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was like, I knew how irresponsible I was going to be. And it's like, what is it? Walk hard. You don't want no part of this, Dewey. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't finish watching that movie. I know you're talking about
you haven't seen the whole thing?
not the on Netflix, right?
It's
you're talking about the movie. It's not a documentary. But it's on
it's like one of those. It's a goof on biopic. Yeah, it's called Walk Hard: The Dewey Cox Story.
Yeah, that's on Netflix. I started watching it. I haven't finished it.
Okay, I got the extended version on DVD somewhere at the house, man. Like I think that was one of Apatow's like best works, man. Like, I'll be honest, I'm not really like all that enthusiastic about the one that's coming out now with Bill Burr and what's his name, fucker that was dating Ariana Grande, Pete Davidson.
Oh.
Yeah. King of Staten Island or something like that.
Oh, yeah, he was talking about that. Yeah.
I didn't know it was coming out. I mean, looks interesting enough, but like, I don't know, man. Apatow's work is kind of like, I don't know. Maybe that's changing me or what, man. But dude, some of those Knocked Up still holds up for me, man. Walk Hard. Trying to think of some of the other goofy little ones in there, man. But like, fun stuff. Yeah. But anyway, yeah, Walk Hard, great movie. But the whole idea of like, yeah, man, there's, I have found that some of the most roguish of scoundrels are fairly responsible individuals. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, if, I know motherfuckers that while they may burn their own house down just in an excess of, you know, enthusiasm, they probably wouldn't tolerate somebody showing up and like being irresponsible with their kid. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like when you got a crackhead yelling at you because you fucking, you know, it's like, fuck you doing here with a, that's, you know, you fucked up.
Yeah. Yeah. And now what I remember from that night at that party, man, I couldn't find, I had stopped dealing drugs for a while at that point, like me doing it myself. So I wasn't the plug, so I didn't have the drugs at that. I'm not going to say why, but I had to stop for a moment. And so I didn't have them. So I had to like find somebody else to get me and supply me and so on and so forth. The reason I say that is because I couldn't get a hold of my dealer, and I had been ringing him all night and he wasn't picking up. So I actually had to go to my cousin's house, and my cousin he rest his soul, but he was the biggest stoner in the world, and he had weed all the time. So, and he didn't have weed like on hand, right? Which never happened. And I was like, what the fuck, bro? Like, I need weed like now. And then he's like, I ain't got it, but I have 2 trees with buds on them if you want them. And I was like, what the fuck am I gonna do with? He was like, hey, bro, if you just roll the buds, it'll get you high. I was like, all right, fuck it. So I went, and this motherfucker literally gave me two feet tall trees, right? Mm-hmm. So I went and put them back in the truck, with the car, and I went back to the room. And I had a friend rolling up the buds, you know, on paper. He was just like filling the room with joints. But after a while, he got tired, and he was like, "Bro, I'm tired of fucking rolling, bro. Like, this is not fun anymore, and it's killing my high." And he was like, "Bro, but we gotta keep it going. Because we turned the whole the whole room into a hot box. You know, so I was like, you know what, man, fuck it. Let me try something I ain't never tried before. So I grabbed both of the trees and I broke them. Like I broke the stems or whatever. And I just broke it as much as I could. And I stuffed the trees in the microwave. And I just microwaved that shit. And then I just opened. It got them motherfuckers high as shit. It smelled bad though at the beginning. But after a while you get so high you don't even pay attention to that shit. By the way, people, in case y'all wondering, by this time the kid was out of the room. I don't know where they had taken him, but the kid was no longer there. So don't worry, I didn't get a 3-year-old high. I don't got that on my resume.
Besides, like smoke rises, so you just keep them on the floor.
Yeah, but yeah, man, that was one of those parties that, and it was when I used to work at Ticketmaster. It was one of them Ticketmaster parties. I had a whole bunch of coworkers in that fucking room.
There are few people more wild than those that work customer service.
Yep. And if you've never worked at a call center, you would see exactly why. But yeah, man, those and now that I'm like sharing all of these stories, like I'm just thinking to myself, dude, like I got stories for days about like the shit that I went through and that I've done, like when I used to like do drugs and shit. And there's only been one other person aside from you that has told me to share this on stage. Cause I told these stories to like somebody else and they were laughing their ass off. And I didn't even set it up as a joke with a punchline. It was just a conversation. They were laughing. It's like, dude, you need to do this on stage. And I was like, oh shit, well, it's not ready yet. And he's like, no, yes it is. Just do it.
You know, I think there might be a bit of a bias there, man, as far as like, I've found that I really do appreciate like well done material about drugs and drug culture.
I would just because he's not the only person that's told me that. There's been a couple others, but just because they told me that, I would still never do that. I would never go up on stage and just tell a story without writing it down, figuring it out, and you know what I'm saying? I would never do that because I'm not like, there's a lot of people that like to riff and they live on that shit. Mm-hmm. I'm just not that person because I know within myself that if I just go up without producing the joke beforehand,
right,
I'm not funny. I'm telling you I'm not funny, and I know for a fact that I wouldn't be funny. I've only done that twice in my career, and it didn't go so well. The first time went okay, but I was also drunk, so I think that had a lot to do with it. I was really drunk, which is the very first time that I walked on stage and I ever did comedy. And I didn't even know that that's what the fuck I was doing. Yeah. But, and then the second time that I did it, yeah, it did not go well. I started to do and say what I thought was funny. And then I proceeded to eat a big fat bag of dicks right after that.
I've had maybe 2 experiences. I mean, don't get me wrong, I've had multiple experiences of going up on stage a little bit trashed. But I've had 2 experiences where I went up, did the set, you know, fucking drunk, so I forgot half of the material I was gonna do, ended up riffing some shit. Shit went great. I got off the stage, you know, you got you hit the dismount, you know, thank you folks and good night. You get off the stage, they're still clapping. Everybody's like, yeah. And you're like, all right, cool. Didn't record either one of them. So I have no idea if that shit went anywhere near as well as I think it did. But I wouldn't recommend it.
Yeah, no, it's not it's not something that I would.
What I was going to say though, man, was I do think there's a bit of a difference between, say, taking a story and turning it into a joke, which is that's a completely different skill all on its own, and just taking a story and knowing where to punch it up a little bit so that you're still,
Yeah.
you're still getting the ups and downs of the story and all that.
And see that's what I do, and that's how I figured out like my comedy, because I don't, and I don't mind saying this at all, I don't consider myself talented. I really don't. I think that the reason people laugh at my material or at my act is because I've actually been told this before by actual fans. Um, Shout out to Jerry and Maida that have been following me for quite a while now. But they actually told me that the funniest characteristic that makes me funny in my material is because of the fact that I'm so raw. Like, they're like, you just because you have no filter. And then the fact that we know that it is true, like that the shit actually happened, is just what pushes us. And she was like, yeah, and I'm just talking about me and Jerry, meaning her and her husband.
Right.
It's like knowing the fact that this shit actually happened, is what pushes us over the edge. And they're not the only fans. I'm saying like non-comics that have told me that that's why they find me funny. And I like it because of the fact that I don't have to struggle too much to come up with material, because it's just it's things that happen, and then I just kind of like you said, I just tweak them, and then I just take them on stage. And I've noticed myself that the times that I wasn't funny, it was because it was material that I took on stage that I actually tried to make funny. And it didn't work because I actually tried to make it funny. Like I took a premise and I took a punchline and I put it together and I actually tried to look, this is funny. And it wasn't. It wasn't natural, you know what I'm saying? Like it wasn't, you know.
Right.
So that kind of clarifies to me and tells me that, you know, what they were saying is true. Now I do now I'm not shitting on any other people like comics, professional ones and amateur ones that actually write and actually construct and connect a very funny monologue. I believe that there's really a lot of talented writers. Like I know Chris Rock is one of them. Bill Burr is, these two comics, they're absolutely talented writers beyond belief. You know what I'm saying? And there is people, my point to that is that there is people that can actually write a well written and thought out joke that if it wasn't written, it wouldn't have gone so well. And that's because of the talent of Jerry Seinfeld. Right. Jerry Seinfeld, his writing is impeccable, given Seinfeld one of the greatest sitcoms of all time. Because he's a beyond superb writer. So that I think that's what makes a fool around, you know, comic, somebody that can really write and shit like that. That's why with me, I don't know if I were to take, say for example, right, that I would write three separate hours of material, mm-hmm. and those 3 separate hours work. They're funny. I tried them everywhere, and all 3 separate hours work and they're funny. But say that I would take out my personal experiences, all of them, mm-hmm. from those 3 hours of material, and I would just put other things, I don't think they would be as funny or as successful. I think. I don't know.
I wonder a bit. I think we've had this conversation before, man. Like, if you go back and watch, like, Chappelle's early material, yeah. even up until, like, not fuck the name of the special completely. The one he did right after Chappelle's show.
Oh, Killing Them Softly.
Was that Killing Them Softly? Okay.
Or was it For What It's Worth?
I think it might have been For What It's Worth.
Because for What It's Worth was before Killing Them Softly. It's the one that he did in San Francisco.
Okay, is that the one where he's wearing the
yellow shirt? The yellow shirt with a jacket over.
All right,
The
cool.
Killing Them Softly was the blue button-up shirt with the Timberlands.
Jacket over, or is
No, just a blue button-up shirt with the Tim.
Doesn't matter. Point is, even up until through the Chappelle show stuff and like the specials he did right after that, or special he did right after that, there was still a very noticeable absurdity to all the material. There was always
he still does that now though.
I'm not saying he doesn't still like use it, but it's much more like precise. It's sharper.
Oh yeah.
Now in the way that he's not going over the top.
Yeah.
But
it's still
Like he walks you up to the over the top rather than just immediately that bit he does about the meth heads, and fucking the shotgun. On that was because he starts off like very fucking like low paced, kind of almost a serious tone, and then by the next thing you know, he's walking you all the way up through. Was it birdshot, buckshot?
Yeah, man. And he's one of the few. Him and Kevin Hart are one of the few comics that their ability to tell you a completely absurd joke that from the start is not true and can never happen. But by the end, you don't expect it and you're still laughing your ass off. The one Kevin Hart joke that to this day, when I first heard it, I nearly pissed my pants. No joke. Is the whole deer bra joke about running into a deer bra. He was trying to take it to the zoo, and all this shit happened in between. And then he saw a man with Benjamin Button disease, and he was a baby, and he thought it was a baby that he had lost along the way. And he was like, you know what? I'm going to adopt this baby. I can't leave him in the middle of the street. I downloaded an app for adoptababy.com. I just adopted the baby, took it with me. And then it turned out that baby was not a baby. It was a grown man with Benjamin Button disease. And he's like, I turned in the deer bra to the zoo. They gave me a whole bunch of money. And then the man told me, hey man, where the fuck is my deer bra? Holy shit, man, you right that motherfucker? And then at the end, he's like, anyway, boss, that's the reason why I'm 4 minutes late. I was like, what the fuck? So, but just the way that he started the bit, you did not know that it was going to end there. And that was like the biggest punchline with a bunch of other miniature punchlines in between. And that's just, and from the beginning, there's no such fucking thing as a deer bra. It doesn't exist. You know what I'm saying?
I got you, man. What I was trying to say though was, man, I think you may be, don't get me wrong, it's not like, how to put this properly, for the kids at home to take a message. I think maybe you're not quite there with the not that you're not there as a comic, man, because you're fucking hilarious. Like, I remember standing there watching your set for 2018 that you got the funniest in the RGB.
18.
Yeah, man. I remember watching the set and going, well, this motherfucker just won. And that was the first one. That wasn't even the second one. I was like, no, you got this.
See, and it's funny because when I did the first one, I walked off and I was like, all right, whatever. I gave it my best shot. And I walked all the way to the back because, and I think I've said this on the podcast before. Y'all can fact check me. I walked all the way to the back and I was like, all right, whatever. I gave it my best shot because I didn't think that I was gonna move forward or whatever. So I went all the way to the back or whatever, and then I had barely gotten like to way in the back where Bert was, and then they were like, and then they voted me to move on to the second round, and I was like, in my mind, I was like, holy shit, I made it to the second round. And I'm walking back and I sat down because I wasn't going to go up here. And then I was like, holy shit, I have no more material. And so then I literally, I sat there and I went through my phone and I started piecing the material in my seat for the next set. And I was like, and it's got to be this long shit. Fuck. And I got to take this out. I'm going to put this in. I think that's the 5 minutes. Fuck it. I'm going to go with it. I hope I don't go over. And right then and there, I mean, let me premise this. I didn't write shit right there and come up with a monologue.
You were just playing from the B-side list.
Yeah. I went into material that I had already written and, you know, that I had already worked on, and I just pieced it together into like a 5-minute set or whatever. And then I took that, and that's what I took to the second round, and I didn't think.
What I'm getting at though is, man, like, you have all evidence that you're a competent comedian. You know what I mean?
Thank you, man.
But I don't think you're there on the confidence level yet, man.
What do you mean?
Like the way you've said this several times, man. Like if I didn't, basically paraphrasing you, you know, if I didn't have the personal material to tell, I wouldn't have material. I don't think maybe that you're there yet with the confidence in your ability to construct the.
I see what you're
scenario.
saying. Yeah, I see where you're going with it. But what I mean by that is, for example, I don't want to joke about politics, for example. Not because I'm afraid of the subject. I got plenty to say about it. I just feel that I'm not smart enough to hold my own within a joke, like within a political joke, to be able to like be funny but also make sense. Cause I never want to be funny but not make a fucking point. You understand what I'm saying? So that's what I meant. Like I'm not smart enough to do that. I'm not smart enough to talk about science and be funny. Anything scientific, I'm like not there. So for example, for the people that have watched my set, those political shots that I took at Trump, that's what it was. It was just a shot at Trump. But it wasn't my full political stance and why Democrat. It's just an example, people. Just a fucking example. Why Democrats are better, or why Republicans are better, or why conservative. And there's a lot of people like D.L. Hughley, like fucking I can't think of another one right now, but that will like completely break down and dissect why Republicans are dicks or whatever, and make it absolutely hilarious because they have that understanding and that knowledge. You understand what I'm saying? That's what I'm getting at. What I'm saying is, outside of my personal experiences, because nobody knows me better than me, I don't think I would be able to.
Yeah, man, but you're 32, man. You got, like, I'm saying, like, dude, I've said this before, man. I'm planning to keep living like I'm gonna hit 200. You know what I mean? I ain't done yet. Of course. You know what I'm saying?
There's plenty more. But like, that's what I'm saying.
Like I'm not just making that observation like out of like the blue, man. I genuinely think that's where I'm at myself, is like, or at least as far as like, I know how to make the things that I find funny. You know what I mean? If I come across a funny thought, I have confident enough to take that and expand it into a bit of material. And more, I find myself able to just kind of go, you know, what do I want to make fun of? And then concoct something from there. But like, there's a lot of stuff that I won't, like, even though I occasionally I'll mention politics, I don't go into like, I'm talking about, I talk about the idea of
Yeah,
politics
exactly.
rather than
Yeah.
one.
And see,
like,
with me, I'll take shots at politicians because that's easier. Because it's kind of like a self-deprecation, but with a person that's a politician. But for me to go into their views
Mhm.
and be like, well, he's a jackass. Well, this view's fucked up because of this and this and this, and then punchline. Yeah, I don't. And the other thing is that I wouldn't want to, because I feel, how can I say this? Like, for example, politics is a subject that doesn't have a happy or a sad ending to it. It doesn't have an ending to it. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So what I'm saying is, with something so vague like politics that does not have an end to it, I wouldn't want to waste my time. Right now, and I haven't told this to anybody else, and I'm about to tell you, but right now where I'm kind of steering my career and my material, I'm gonna kind of sort of slightly turn the corner. And what I'm gonna try to do now is, without going into much detail, because I'm still working it out, but I'm gonna basically tell you something funny, but within that funny and that bit and that premise and that punchline, I'm gonna figure out a way to stick a moral behind it.
Oh, please don't. Please fucking
Maybe
don't.
maybe moral was not the right
But
word.
okay, let me
But I'm saying,
let me qualify that statement. When I say please don't try to do that. Don't try to do that as your stand up. Like, let your stand up be stand up. But if I'm not saying don't do it, but like, don't expect it to be the thing, man.
No.
Like,
It's because, how can I say it? Like
stand up with a message is just so fucking. Like, look, I love George Carlin, man. We've had a lot of conversations.
I was about to say,
but here's the thing, man. I can appreciate George Carlin while all right, like the last special, I have to like wait a couple years in between going back and to watch that one, because the fact that at that point he was an angry old man, fucking like, I'm not. Like, he wasn't even there to tell you a joke for about half of that thing, man. He was just fucking laying his shit out. By all means, because I love George Carlin's material, I can enjoy it.
But I see what you're saying, but so what you're saying about George and his last special, my only point. But honestly, if you really still watch it, like, it was still funny though.
I'm not saying it's not,
like,
man.
You see what
saying? I'm saying there are long stretches in there.
Like his bits about like the dumb Americans, his bits where he put all that wordplay in between. Mm-hmm. My point is that within those bits, like, he made a strong point. He made the point strong enough to where even if you did not agree with his point, you respected it and it was funny. I don't agree with everything that George talked about on stage. There was a lot of shit that I was completely on the opposite side of the spectrum with him, but I still laughed at it.
Okay, but that's what I'm saying, though.
Because it was funny.
I would be willing to venture that about half the material on that, like, if you go back and, like, say you've got, a clicker in one hand and another clicker in the other, and one's for laughter and one's for applause, and you clicked it on, depending on what response the crowd was given to the material, I guarantee you it's probably about 50-50 applause to laughter. And that's because about 50% of that material, there was no fucking, like I said, because I enjoy Carlin's material and I can go like, yeah, that's a classic Carlin bit right there, but it doesn't make me laugh. And there's shitload, like, there are whole specials from the 90s, man, like, handful of them that, like, the whole bit about taking the Four Corners states and turning it into a giant prison with like a tiny little door that opens once a year. Okay, you could say there's maybe some social commentary in there, but at the end of it, like, you don't come out. There's no. It's a choose your own adventure at some point. Like, he takes you to all the punchlines. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But he's not. You come out with the same shit you went in with. Like, it's not like, oh, maybe I'll change my mind after this. It's like, no, look, if you got a belief when you walked in the front door, you're gonna have the same belief when you walk out the back door.
But that's what he did. See what I'm saying?
It's out.
That what I'm saying is that's what George did. Like especially like with me as a fan, I still watched it, and he did make me, with certain of his bits, he did make me see another side of that issue, but it didn't change my mind. As in, oh, well, I don't feel the way I felt before. Okay. So the reason I point that out is because that's kind of what I mean. Like, I'm not gonna stand here and hammer my belief on a certain thing down your throat until you believe it. I'm just gonna tell you how I feel about it, why I feel about it that way, and first and foremost, make sure that it's funny when I'm telling it to you. First and foremost, that's always got to be number one with me.
Yeah.
Make sure that I can be sure to make it funny, and then deliver it to you. I'll give you an example.
I think that's a great place to end on it, man. We're coming up on the end of the second hour here. You want to tell jokes, kids? You better be fucking funny.
Yeah, don't forget the funny part, because then if the people that don't agree with you, you're gonna walk off being that asshole.
They're just gonna be mad they paid to see you.
Pretty much.
Let them know where you at, Freddy.
So with that being said, y'all can still find me on Instagram. I'm still on Instagram and nowhere else at the moment. Any further updates, you'll find out, I think, on Instagram first, if anywhere else.
As always, you can find me at hatfieldstandup@gmail.com, as well as Hatfield Standup on Facebook and Twitter. You can find all the audio versions of all the audio episodes of this podcast at shoutengine.com/bouncing brains. You can also listen on Stitcher under Bouncing Brains. You can listen to new episodes every Friday at 5 p.m. on rgvtitanradio.com. Go and check them out. The older episodes should be back in rotation at some point once they get the lineup worked out. Let's see, YouTube under Bouncing Brains. And if you'd like to get in touch with us, Bouncing Brains Podcast at gmail.com, as well as Bouncing Brains on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And folks, it's been fun. Thanks for coming.
And until next time, keep it tight.